Well, folks, somehow I dragged myself out of Gila River Resorts and Casinos, and I have made it in to Studio K, sponsored by our friends over at Circle K. And Damon and I have so much to talk about. We have to talk about Keyan Burnett making a return to the University of Arizona. Devin Netz has been drafted. We have Carter Bryant news. We have Caleb Love news. Haven't said that name on the show in a while. All that and so much more on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Don't you go anywhere.
AZ Wildcats podcast live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. I am Damon Farrell. He is Kevin Thomas, and we are back after a little bit of a nice weekend, Kevin. We got a lot to talk about today, including, as you mentioned, Caleb Love, Carter Bryant, Arizona softball, Arizona baseball, and, of course, Keyan Burnett returning to the University of Arizona, where he originally committed out of high school and, played high school ball with Noah Fafita, Tedero McMillan, Jacob Manu, and more. But without further ado, Kevin, we got to get into just a little quick weekend recap. We got to talk about, my boys' trip to Gila River. And, of course, we have to talk about, sadly, Kevin, your St. Louis Blues. I know this feels like a shot, but I swear it's not. Kevin, of course, is a St. Louis native. I don't know if you've ever heard him say that on the show.
I very rarely mention it.
He's pretty low key about it. But he's a big St. Louis Blues fan, as he's a big St. Louis Cardinals fan. And, those are the two sports that they really got going on in St. Louis right now. But, Kevin, just a heartbreaking loss against the Winnipeg Jets. I know we were talking about it a little bit yesterday, and then I went home and I unfortunately saw the news. How are we feeling less than 24 hours after disaster?
Damon, I'll start here. Let's just start with a weekend recap, and we will include the Game 7 because I think the highs and lows of what the Game 7 was, I think, are so important for the story of my weekend, right? I had a great weekend, Damon. As you know, it was my girlfriend's birthday this weekend, so there was tons of celebration and great things. Yes, exactly. Shout out. Tons of celebration and great things going on in my neck of the woods. Went bar hopping on Friday, pool day on Saturday, and then Sunday I had this staycation with our friends over at Gila River. I was so excited, and we make it to Gila River, and I have a very romantic, thing planned. We have a wine bottle waiting for us in the room.
It's a beautiful moment.
We had a nice steak dinner. Look at these photos. We had a nice steak dinner at Prime A. Shula Steakhouse. Shout out again to Gila River because this food was incredible. Those shrimp were so delicious. So I'm having a great time.
Shout out Miami Dolphins.
Shout out. I'm having a great time, staying at Gila River, and we get to our room and the game is on. Well, even before we get to the room, I actually ran into our good friend Damon Dog in the parking lot because you guys had the D-backs watch party. The D-backs almost blew it, but they miraculously didn't blow it. And I pull up to Damon, and I'm like, oh, I'm here for my staycation. How are you doing? He's like, oh, yeah, we just, didn't blow the game. Life is good. We got to meet some cool diehards. Everything was all good.
Yeah.
And I look at him, and I go, hey, I'm not saying too much, but, my vibes are great. I'm arriving for my staycation, and the Blues are up 3-1.
Yeah, you said Blues up.
Blues up.
Blues are up.
Blues are up right now.
Nice, so let's get it.
I got back to my room, and there's 2 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
And they score a goal, make it 3-2, and I'm thinking to myself, please no.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, please no, but also, we're good, we're fine. Something miraculous would have to happen for them to pull this out. And sure enough, 1.7 seconds left, and the puck goes in the net. They tie the game. I damn near collapse onto the Gila River floor, drop to my knees in the middle of Gila River, and what ends up happening is the Blues lose this game. And I told Damon, and I told my girlfriend at the time, ordinarily, this would ruin my day. This would cause an end to all endorphins in my brain, and I would no longer be able to experience joy for at least probably 36 hours. Gila River, and I'm not even joking, was so much fun. That steak dinner was so delicious. I don't want to say I didn't care about losing in that Game 7, because I still cared about the loss, but I will say my heartbreak was healed by Gila River, and I don't know what else. I don't know if that is, do you need a better advertisement for doing whatever you got to do at Gila River, because you do you at Gila River? You experience heartbreak with your team losing, but you can also heal that heartbreak with everything they got going on there.
It came up clutch for you. In the moment that you needed Gila River the most, Gila River was there for you. And that's the truth with Gila River, with everybody, with all the fine folks of not just the world, but specifically the Arizona community. Gila River will always be there. Wild Horse Pass, beautiful casino. It was great seeing a bunch of D-backs diehards out there this weekend at the watch party. If you're a D-backs fan, tune in for more. Cardinals, Suns, we do watch parties out there all the time. And yeah, Kevin, I can't wait to get out to Gila River and use my little comp stay.
Your little connections.
Oh yeah. It sounds electric. Shout out to your girlfriend. Happy birthday. And I'm glad that you got to experience a nice night despite the the devastating nature of what happened. And you're a better man than me, Kevin Thomas, because me, sir, I would probably ruin the entire weekend.
Oh man. You have no idea. I told you this, Damon, when I saw what happened when the goal was scored to tie the game. I collapsed back on the bed like this, just like hands over my face for probably about a good 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Before I realized, I was like, this one ain't about me, big dog. I gotta get up. We gotta pull ourselves up by the britches, and we gotta live to fight another day.
I'm with you, brother.
Hopefully they sign Mitch Marner in the offseason, but this is not a hockey podcast.
Real quick though, but because I am wearing my What Chaos shirt.
Oh, shout out to the boys!
Shout out. I mean, is there a better time to wear a What Chaos shirt?
Literally no.
Than after what happened yesterday in that game.
No.
I genuinely saw people tweeting "What Chaos" after that, which is funny.
How colony coded of them. What chaos! Yeah. This is crazy scenes.
I guess it's just a hockey saying.
It is. It definitely is.
I mean, I don't know a ton about hockey, but yeah, shout out the boys at What Chaos. Great show going on over there at All City. And our guys, Pete, DJ, Sean, they're going to have you locked and loaded with all the best hockey coverage you will find anywhere in the business. We love What Chaos.
We do love What Chaos. Shout out to the boys for that 24-hour stream as well on trade deadline. I mean, the ASU boys.
They've done two.
They have done two. The ASU boys did one as well. But I think the trade deadline thing was just a uniquely interesting thing to have to cover for 24 hours straight, and they did a great job. So if you want more hockey content, go to What Chaos for sure.
ASU schmeas poo. You know what I mean? That's
no, exactly. I can't say that the best 24-hour stream of the company was the ASU guys over here, because that'd be fraudulent. Luke, I can't do that.
By the way, Luke, I know Luke's a great guy, really nice guy. NHL playoffs on a different level. That Game 7 was unbelievable. Luke, let's be honest. You were fist pumping when the Jets scored that goal, brother. The guy has his Blackhawks Connor Bedard jersey on in his picture. Luke's from Chicago. I know Luke was after the Jets scored that goal, and then after they won in overtime. It's similar to how Kevin, I think, would respond in a very similar situation.
Yeah.
It's just oh shucks. Like if the roles were reversed,
oh shucks is crazy.
If the shoes were flipped here, Kevin would be like, gosh darn it, Luke, that was such a good game, my guy. But deep down, Kevin would be like, we did it.
Yeah,
the Blackhawks are dead.
You know me, I'm a big, I love sport above all else. So, if, Bedard and the Blackhawks have a beautiful team and that's just their time, I wouldn't be too mad about it. Mm-hmm. But deep down inside, I would be livid and I'd be sick to my stomach. But before we move on from our Gila River conversation,
okay,
I texted you in a slightly intoxicated state, because I was doing me at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. I was enjoying my time there. What's that?
Go ahead. I want you to finish your convo, and then we're going to flip completely on what we're going to talk about.
We have breaking news.
We do.
Okay. Real quick. I was walking out of the casino to go get something from my car in a kind of a crowd of people, and I texted you something, Damon. I said, guess who I think I just saw at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, Wild Horse Pass? Mm-hmm. And you go, hit me. And I said, Tetheroa McMillan and Noah Fafita. And you were like, did you say something? And I was like, oh, dude, no, because of my current state and also the fact that we were passing opposite directions, mm-hmm. I wasn't looking for Noah Fafita and T-Mac at the casino, so I didn't think to have my eyes peeled. I guess I should have, because you sent me this photo, which it seems like it's taken at Gila River based on those are the exact outfits I saw them in.
Is that what you saw?
That
was what I was going to ask.
That's literally like, those are the two I saw. Noah and T-Mac. I saw them. They entered, probably meeting the boys here, as you guys
what
can
a
see
crew,
there.
dude.
That is a hell of a crew.
From left to right, you got Seth Doege, who's just, of course, he's just one of the boys. You know what I mean? Like, he's just hanging out.
We mentioned this. We mentioned this. Those Texas Tech times, he can get down.
Oh, for sure.
This is his scene secretly.
Also, just like killer fit, got the T Scots on. I mean, Coach Doege is just the man. But moving right, you got Keyan Burnett, of course, who was convinced to come back to Arizona. You got the greatest coach in the history of football in Josh Miller in the middle there, right next, arm over the shoulder of his new tight end, Keyan Burnett. And then you got Noah Fafita, you got Tedero McMillan right next to him, and you got the monster that is Tyler Powell.
Dude, he makes T-Mac look short.
What in the hell am I looking at, man?
He makes T-Mac look like a small person. Like a tiny person.
Tiny. I stood next to T-Mac at the spring showcase, Kevin, when I went on the field to talk to him and, ask him to be on the show, to which he kindly rejected me. And he is not a small individual.
No, T-Mac's a very tall dude.
Dude, he towers over. I mean, not that I'm tall. I'm 5'9", but he towers over me. His hands are huge. You're like, God, this guy's a monster. And then you go see Tyler Powell, and you're like, what am I even looking? This is the largest man in the history of the world, and I think that's going to be our new thing for Tyler Powell. Tyler Powell is the largest man in the history of the world, because I don't even know what I'm staring at right there. He looks like The Rock.
He does look like The Rock. Above all else, Damon, I'm just happy that you found that photo and that photo exists, because I was texting you. I was like, I feel like I'm a crazy person. Because I was like, I swear I just saw T-Mac and Noah, but I was like, why? What reason do they have to be at it? I'm not saying that they were doing anything crazy. I'm just saying, like, I didn't expect to go in there seeing any Arizona football players. Nonetheless, the two biggest stars of the recent football memory in Arizona, strolling in just to have a night with the boys. But yeah, that was a cool little interesting tidbit. And I did go to sleep that night thinking, did I hallucinate that? Was that just me riding too high off of the great times I'm having at Gila River to even realize what's going on around me? But you said we have breaking news. What is our breaking news, Damon?
Breaking news, Arizona has filled its assistant coach role that was left by Steve Robinson when he, recently retired. And I don't have this confirmed or anything. Maybe we should try to get to talk to Steve Robinson. I think that actually would be a really great interview, and we'll reach out and see if we can get something in the works there. But felt like he was kind of connected to Caleb Love a little bit, right? Like, he brought Caleb Love over from UNC to Arizona, and at the conclusion of Caleb Love's collegiate career, Steve Robinson, decides to hang it up, right, and retire after a very long tenure coaching. But Arizona is hiring Brandon Chappell as an assistant coach, according to On3 and Joe Tipton. And this is a guy who it says he, according to this On3 source here, he is a guy that started his coaching career with Jack Murphy at Northern Arizona. So there's a prior relationship on staff here. Clearly Jack Murphy knows him well and feels like he'd be a good fit for this program. And Jack Murphy feels like he's just as important to anybody at this program other than Tommy, right?
Right hand man.
He feels he feels like it's Tommy and it's Jack Murphy right there, right? And of course, Jack's been involved with U of A for a long time. Coach Murphy, he was he was here under the Lute Olson era, and now he's back. And this just feels like, keeping it in the family, and also just like he obviously has a good read on who Brandon Chappell is as a person, right? He was recently on the Texas staff, Kevin. So it's not like this isn't like a huge step up in terms of, his coaching, prestige, I guess. Like, despite him starting at NAU with Jack Murphy, he has moved on and been able to kind of climb the ranks himself, right? As an assistant coach, and spent 3 seasons, it says, I guess it's pronounced Chappelle, not Chapel. So it is Brandon Chappelle.
Love that.
The pronunciation on the Texas website says, like Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, love that.
But 11 years of experience, coach for 3 years at Texas. Any thoughts on said, coaching hire, Kevin?
Honestly, not too many thoughts on it specifically, but I do want to do more like research into who he might possibly be like connected with, what kind of pipelines he might bring into this, like what his area of expertise is in relation to what he's going to bring to the coaching staff. Because I'd be lying if I said I was the foremost Chappelle expert, not the comedian. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to learn about this new face on the bench with Tommy Lloyd. And I think if you look at the guys that Tommy Lloyd has brought in as coaches, we haven't seen a ton of, crazy turnover. And I think that's because he's brought in guys that he trusts and understands what he wants to do. And I have faith that this signing, or not this signing, but this hiring is a good decision. And it's going to help the basketball team next season. Like I said, I'd love to do some more research and truly figure out what specifically they think he's going to bring to the bench there. Because we know, every coach has different areas of expertise that they specialize in there. So yeah, excited to have that finally finalized though, to go into the, end of summer with, talking to players and trying to train guys up and actually having a full staff, I think is super important. So yeah, I'm excited to learn about this new face on the bench, Damon, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it seems like a good move. I think also, and this is just the reality of the situation. I believe that with Steve Robinson retiring, Arizona had an all-white staff, and this is adding a black coach, which is a big deal in college basketball, right? Like you don't want to have a staff full of a bunch. You want representation of people that you're going to have on your roster. That's why women coaching in women's basketball is so important. And so this fills that role, and he seems like a young coach with a lot of room for development and growth. And yeah, I mean, I honestly, I know we don't know a ton about Brandon Chappelle right now, Kevin, but I would say that it just feels like the type of move that, really, I think will benefit Arizona in the long run. I like this hire. He looks like a young coach that, really he looks like a cool dude, straight up, similarly to how Seth Doege is a cool guy that I would want to play for if I was a college football recruit, right? Is you need coaches and assistant coaches in particular that do a lot of the boots on ground recruiting work to, relate to these players and be people that, are young and energetic and fun and people that a player would grow to have a relationship with, and then also say, I want to go play in Tucson for that guy. Right. So yeah, I mean, it's a new avenue for Arizona basketball. And, we're excited for adding Brandon Chappelle to this roster.
I'm also excited, and we talked about how Arizona struggles to shoot the three last season, how they struggled to shoot the three last season.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Chappelle's a guy that might be able to help some of those fundamental things with this team in terms of finding open shots and actually making the open shots. He was a really good shooter during his time in college. He played at Lamar University, and he still ranks among the school's all-time leaders in three-pointers made, three-point field goal percentage, and is top 10 in assists at Lamar as well. So this is a guy that understands the importance of being a guard and how to play the guard position and contribute on offense. So I'm excited to see how he can add to the guards' potential on this year's team, especially when you have a guy like Braden Burries entering the mix, who is going to be in his freshman year and is not a known entity like guards have passed with Jaden Bradley and Caleb Love. You know what I mean? So excited to see what Chappelle can bring to the squad. And honestly, happy we got some more breaking news during our show for once.
Needed it, dude.
I feel like the numbers are starting to even out. I feel like the score is starting to even out, Damon.
Little inside baseball. Kevin and I are just, we're grasping at straws here. I mean, we talked Gila River Resorts and Casinos, his vacation for, a good 8 minutes off the top.
Because that's what most of the teams are doing right now. They're vacationing.
My Hawaii vacation for an entire segment last week. And, thank you, University of Arizona, for making this move right in the middle of our show. We appreciate you and your service to this fine podcast that we have here. But yeah, any further thoughts on Brandon Chappelle? I know that we're going to probably need to do a little bit more of a deep dive. Off air, it's hard to be live and learn a ton about the guy. But I genuinely feel like this is the type of hire that Arizona needed to make, and the fact that he has a previous relationship with the guy who's basically the vice president of this basketball program is is that for me is the stamp of approval. The only thing I needed to see.
I agree with you about the stamp of approval. And like I said earlier, I think Tommy Lloyd's been really purposeful and intentional with the coaches he has brought in. So I have faith that this is a guy that kind of fits the same mold as the rest of Tommy Lloyd's assistant coaches. I also want to mention on the diversity tip that you had brought up earlier, regardless of which, race, color, or creed the coaches are, you do need just a diverse background, diverse, school of thought when making decisions. And it's literally been scientifically proven that a more diverse group of people, a more diverse group of thinkers from different backgrounds are better able to problem solve and come to a proper solution on a lot of problems. So I think it's very important. And also, I don't think it would have been an all-white staff. It would have been really close, I think. But Ken Nakagawa is on the staff.
True.
And so, yeah. But I think it is, like you said, very important to maintain some representation for some of your players, to look at the bench and see as someone that looks like them. Very important. So, yeah, I think Arizona, again, without having known too much about Mr. Chappelle, respectfully, it seems like this is a solid hire nonetheless. Maybe not like a crazy groundbreaking hire, but it does seem like a good hire.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I agree with you regarding we do have a minority coach on staff, absolutely. But I think that it's further, you need a black coach on staff in particular, if not multiple, important. Right? Yeah. So, it's a good move for Arizona, and we look forward to covering Brandon Chappelle. Hopefully it works out for everybody involved. Seems like said here on the tweet, and I know that they're not going to trash him inside of on a tweet that, is regarding his new step up in life, right? But it says that he's a well-regarded recruiter with a strong work ethic, which is, when recruiting guys are saying that you're known to be a good recruiter, I think that holds a little bit of weight. And Arizona needs good recruiters at every single spot on its entire assistant coaching staff.
Not even that, but look who brought him in, right? Jack Murphy is the guy bringing in almost all of the top guys for Arizona. Now, obviously, Tommy Lloyd has a huge role in this as well, but he actually, he's the head honcho. He is the godfather of this Arizona mafia, right? So he has to oversee everything. If Jack Murphy is the boss, not an underboss, but one step above a boss, he is in charge of bringing in everybody that Tommy Lloyd can trust, because he's Tommy Lloyd's right-hand man. So I feel like Jack Murphy being the guy that brings this new coach in, I really feel like is going to cement my belief that he is the recruiter that you're seeing people saying that he is, because Jack Murphy he knows it takes one to know one, and he is a good recruiter. So hopefully this only improves Arizona's chances of maintaining highly ranked recruiting classes going forward.
Certainly. We threw a little bit of an audible at you there from the start. Talked some Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. Talked a little bit of Brandon Chappelle, new assistant coach hire for Arizona. And we showed you a cool little picture where Tyler Powell is the largest man who's ever existed.
Should we show it one more time?
We'll do it right after the break here. But after this break, we are going to talk more about Keyan Burnett, what he brings to Arizona's roster, and what we expect from him in 2025. And we'll talk more about the largest man that's ever existed. We'll do that right after the break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast.
Well, Damon, we talked about it pretty much all of the first segment because it was so impactful on my weekend. It was the perfect cherry on top to a great weekend. Gila River Resorts and Casinos.
Keep it rolling,
the perfect place to have a staycation if you are in the state of Arizona, or a vacation if you are outside of the state, because Gila River has it all. Endless slots, endless table games. They got live music after UFC events coming up. I'm excited to maybe partake in that. Watch the fights at Gila River, enjoy some nice food and beverage, and then enjoy some live music. Maybe go down and do the table games. Maybe there's a comedy show going on. Maybe there's a concert. Maybe I want to go play Topgolf. There's so much to do at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, because you do you. At Gila River Resorts and Casinos, you can experience the thrill. This is one thing I want to do going forward now that I have the seal of approval from the missus here. Experience the thrill of live sports at the BetMGM Sportsbooks at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. From the NBA playoffs to the French Open, regrettably to the NHL playoffs, you can place your bets, grab a bite, and watch every play on their massive screens. And there are multiple screens, nice little, very comfortable seats, because you do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. And I'm just going to throw it up one more time. Look at this food, y'all, from the Prime Steakhouse. Delicious food at
You were
Gila
talking
River
about that shrimp
Resorts
this morning.
and Casinos. I was talking about that shrimp this morning. I literally want a shrimp cocktail tonight because of the taste of that shrimp at the steakhouse.
Can I just say, I'm a scallop man.
Oh, the scallops were beautiful.
I
They were
saw
so
the
beautiful.
scallops on there, and I'm a scallop man. What can I say?
They were beautiful.
You know?
They were beautiful.
Gila River Resorts and Casinos is the absolute best place to go have a staycation, as Kevin says, or just hang out if you want to go, to the casino for a little bit. Check out the beginning of the show for a more widespread scaling, advertisement.
Mm-hmm.
But moving forward, Kevin, let's talk about our friends at Sanderson Ford, because Sanderson Ford is, they're doing something real special. They're giving us their employee pricing right now when you go shop their trucks. It's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah, it is unbelievable.
Like, it's, we got our guy Ron over there, one of the sales guys. He was at our golf tournament. We got to speak to Ron again, the legend that is Ron. And we're going to get the same deal that Ron's going to get on a Ford F-150. How crazy is that, Kevin? They also let me and Kevin be the arbiters of the 2-year lease truck at our golf tournament that we did, and that was pretty insane. A lot of trust put in your boys here, but
some say too much.
But I think we did the job, and I'll tell you what,
job.
Nothing more trustworthy than a Ford truck and a Ford vehicle in general, right? And like I said, they got the announced from America for America employee pricing, where you're going to get the same price as the owner of Sanderson Ford. I know I'm talking about the employees, but the owner of Sanderson Ford,
David Kimberly?
Yes, he has to pay the exact same price as we do right now. They got an additional Ford incentives on over 1,000 vehicles during the Sanderson Ford Platinum 70th anniversary sale, Kevin. And, you can choose Sanderson Ford because they're going to give you the no pressure, no hassle, no nonsense approach to buying a vehicle that everybody wants when they go to a car dealership. You don't want one of those slimy used car deals, seller slime balls, right? That's not what you're getting at Sanderson Ford. They're good people. They care about you and they treat you like it. So make sure, this offer doesn't exclude the 2025 Expedition, the Super Duty, the Raptor, and the Mustang, as well as the Bronco specialty vehicles. 1 pair of tickets per household with the valid driver's license to July 6th game versus the Kansas City Royals while supplies last for 200 tickets. So they're also giving away some Diamondbacks games. No test drive required. You just got to show up, stop by, and they're going to enter you for a chance to win some Diamondbacks tickets. Does it get any better than this? Baseball, trucks, America, Sanderson Ford.
City connects. Bang. Put the stamp on it. That was beautiful.
America, brother. Sanderson Ford.
Can that just be the new jingle? Like, can they just cut that audio and just put it on a major commercial?
What?
Me going and you going
yes.
Sanderson Ford.
Yes. What did I said? What did I say? I said something trucks America Sanderson Ford.
You went
I think
real,
that's pretty electric. And then the caca, and then the salute. I think that's the new commercial.
Make it as American.
Feel free to hit us up, Sanderson. I think we got some real legs on this one.
Producers, co-hosts, ad guys. Just saying.
Max, watch out, brother.
Yeah, watch out, Max. Watch out.
Moving forward, Keyan Burnett back at Arizona, Kevin, was announced yesterday. Keyan is a guy that, he had a really high profile out of high school. He obviously played at Servite with all the boys, as you guys know.
Manu McMillan for Feats.
Yep. He was a former 4-star recruit, kind of a mid 4-star, 236 recruit in the country on the 24/7 composite rankings. Number 7 tight end in the country that class. He's a guy that was committed to USC, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second here. He flipped to Arizona. He then, entered the transfer portal, came back. He then entered the transfer portal, went to Kansas. Now he's coming back again. Keyan Burnett can't shake the Wildcats, Kevin. It's like Arizona's his like ex that he just has to keep coming back to. And hey, we'll take it. He's probably the most talented tight end on this roster.
He instantly becomes Arizona's best tight end on the roster. No disrespect to anybody else that is in that room currently, including Sam Olson, Tyler Powell, Cameron Barmore, and Kellen Ford, who transferred in this past summer. But Keyan Burnett, like as we've already literally seen, the man is an extremely talented tight end, and when utilized correctly, can look like a star tight end. I really do feel that way. I know he didn't have the production at Arizona really to back that up, but I think that his frame, his talent, does back it up. And I think when you look at who was calling plays for Arizona last year, it doesn't really set the tight end up for the biggest amount of success It didn't really set anybody up for success. That offense
Certainly
that Arizona
not. But
was
what's
running
weird
last
about
season.
that in particular is that Matt Atkins took over the play calling duties. He
I
was
know.
tight end coach. He took over in about week 4, week 5?
Yeah.
And the tight end was not utilized from the tight end coach who was calling the plays. Pretty odd.
Very odd. No, very odd. But I do think that he instantly becomes the best tight end on the roster. And say what you want about Brent Brennan as a coach. I have my own criticisms of Brent Brennan as a head coach. I think this year is going to be a big, big indicator of his potential and ceiling and floor as a head coach at this level of football. But technically, the brother's got a top 10 pick. Technically, he's got 3 other ones that are going into the league. Technically, he's gotten 2 guys to come crawling back to Tucson as Tia Savea became the first one earlier this offseason after he was at Texas. And he spent some time on that Alamo Bowl team, not Brent Brennan related, but he did come back to play under Brent Brennan. So Damon, is Brent Brennan the greatest coach ever? I'm kidding. But yeah, he again, say what you want, but the vibes do seem to be improving and players are coming back to a situation that they at one point left and did not have faith in.
Yeah, I think it goes to show that what Brent Brennan and what the players were telling us at the spring showcase is true, right? Like this is a group that is bought in. And I feel like that's why Keyan Burnett is back, because he has a connection with these guys that are already on this team, right? Especially Noah Fafita, the quarterback of the team, who was his high school quarterback, and I'm sure very close friend. And yeah, I mean, it's I think it just goes to show, like, he left and he was like, damn, I can't leave my boys. I really do think it's pretty simple, right? And also, Brent Brennan out here playing chess, brother. I tweeted it.
Talk about it.
I mean, double agent, right? Like, Keyan Burnett came back with his duffel bag packed full of binders with Kansas's offensive and defensive playbook in it and said, here you go, coach. I think it's like week 7, week 8 next year.
Probably threw it on his desk with like a Kansas duffel, the Kansas duffel they gave him.
Bag it up.
Boom! Like it was like the end of the heist movie, and you're just throwing the baggie full of stacks of hunnits on the table. But instead, it's just Kansas's playbook.
So for all you guys saying Brent Brennan's out here not doing enough, he's out here playing on a different playing field than the rest of the coaches, man.
Who needs to hire some former Navy SEAL analyst to go film practices when you can just have players transfer and then transfer back? You don't need to be Michigan and get caught doing stupid stuff. You just got to be smart and have players leave after winning one of the worst seasons in school history and then come back because, they want to help you out and help turn things around.
Yeah, and of course, I'm looking here on the 24/7 transfer rankings. Keyan Burnett is the number 10 tight end in the transfer rankings. So top 10 tight end transfer coming in for Brent Brennan's squad this year. I don't know, man. Things are looking on the way up, Kevin, if I do say so myself. But in reality, hyped about this move. I don't, I think Keyan Burnett is a player that, he's shown flashes. He hasn't been a guy that has been consistent, right?
Correct.
We in really the first flashes that he really showed in his career were last season, in particular that game against Utah, right, where he was absolutely phenomenal in that game. He caught the game-winning touchdown pass from Noah Fafita, that was probably Fafita's best game of the season. And yeah, he had 5 catches, 76 yards, and a touchdown in that game. Only 217 yards on the season, only 18 catches, only 1 touchdown. Are those numbers jumping off the screen at you? Absolutely not. But this is a guy with a high recruiting profile and ranking. This is a guy who battled injuries all year last year and has battled injuries in the past in his career. I think if you get a fully healthy Keyan Burnett, and with Tyler Powell, who, I don't know if you would you mind throwing the picture on screen here? Oh,
of course I would not mind.
I believe
you mean of just the homies,
the boys,
just the boys.
Yeah, TM,
the guys.
But. Look at Tyler Powell for a second here. Look at Keyan Burnett.
Damn.
They are not the same size, right? They're clearly, Tyler Powell is clearly a lot bigger. I think that's a good thing for Arizona because they provide different profiles for this tight end group. You have a little bit more of a receiving option in Keyan Burnett. You have a little bit more of a blocking inline tight end option in Tyler Powell, who can set up next to the offensive tackles and, double team a guy, set up to the next level. And Keon can kind of run in the slot a little bit more. Like, I think that this gives Seth Doege a lot more chess pieces to work with in his offense. I think that this looks like a lot more, 2 tight end personnel sets now with these 2 players in particular. And yeah, I mean, I really feel that this is a move that could benefit Arizona in a big way. Like, is Keyan Burnett going to set the world on fire, and have 800 receiving yards next year? Probably not. But does he help switch up the looks that Arizona can give you by adding just another good, talented football player to the mix who has a great attitude, who wants to be here and who, wants to fight for his teammates? I think he checks all those boxes. So I'm pumped about the move.
I'm super pumped about the move. I want to continue talking about the move momentarily because you are cooking over there. But we threw up that picture of just the guys, the boys, the homies, whatever you want to call them, the ooses, whatever you want to call them all.
Gang.
Yeah, whatever. The squad. Anyway, I apologize, chat. I should have been more on my P's and Q's. I should have said something. Got him on the pod. This would have been attempt number 3 at T-Mac. Swing number 3. You know what I mean? Maybe it would have happened.
Sure.
Maybe him and I could have pre-recorded something live playing slots. Just
that would have crushed me. If Kevin was at Gila River getting like Fafita to film him, just hold it horizontally. He's getting Noah to hold the camera.
Make sure HDR is off, Noah. Make sure HDR is off.
And he's just sitting there asking T-Mac questions. They're chopping it up.
I'm ripping slots.
Dapping each other up. My boy laughing with giving each other a little shoulder nudge. And meanwhile, I'm like, on the one hand, I'm like hyped that we got it for the show. And on the other hand, I'm like watching it like, man, why does he hate me?
And you're also watching it like I was just there.
Yeah.
Like that could have been you just as easily.
Except it couldn't be because clearly T-Mac is like, get this freak away from me every time that I talk to him. That's not true. T-Mac was very accommodating to me that when we were at the Super Bowl. He took time out of his day and was going to do an interview with me. And then just, Ross Tucker, football show's producer, is the worst guy that's ever existed. But
we got beef. We got beef.
Oh, for sure. And I will say something to that guy in the future if I catch him again. But obviously, he wasn't really in the talking mood 4 days before the draft, 5 days before the draft at the spring showcase. Didn't expect him to say yes.
But see, honestly, while we're down this rabbit hole, I think he would have been in a talking mood on a Sunday night at the casino.
After he got drafted,
After he got drafted. He's with the boys. He's just chilling.
I mean, in a talking mood, but maybe not in a record something.
No, yeah, that was said in jest. I would not have actually requested him to do something there.
You could have kind of slid your way in there and just been like,
I would have planted a seed.
What up, my boy?
Planted a little seed.
How we doing?
For maybe next week on the pod. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, congrats on being a Panther, brother.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Congrats on being the future all-time leading receiver in Carolina Panthers history.
Congrats
Steve
on
Smith and
congrats
shambles.
on obviously you're going to break the rookie receiving yards and touchdowns record, 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. Congratulations, Tedero.
Dude, Malik Neighbors last season. I hope he breaks that record, but I think I guess 1,200.
I meant for specifically Carolina
for the Panthers.
I think Kelvin Benjamin. Who was it? It was one of our guys in the chat
who got 1,500 yards as a rookie.
Woo!
As a 5th round pick.
Yeah, I ain't expecting nobody to do that. Not expecting anybody to do that. But yeah, no, let's keep talking about Keyan Burnett, but I did have to side note it because I was feeling a little guilty for you, the chat, and for Damon, and for me.
Yeah, just devastated.
I let everybody down, y'all. I really did. I should have been.
You didn't. I should have
been more on my P's and Q's.
No, it's okay. Really, the only thing I would like. We talked about this a little bit off air. The only thing would have been like, just being like, "What's up, Noah? Remember that interview?"
Yeah, because we just spoke with Noah like less than a month ago.
It's more of a face thing than it would be anything else. But it's it's cool that they're all hanging out like that. I know T-Mac's up here in Phoenix. I wonder when he's going to make his move out to the East Coast. But it seems like everybody's still close. Everybody's still hanging out, and they got Keon back, and they just had to go celebrate, man. But another angle of this that we did not talk about, Kevin, is the Seth Doege piece of all of it.
Yes.
Seth Doege was Keyan Burnett's recruiter when he was tight ends coach at the University of Southern California, USC, for when
the government name.
The government name. When Keon originally committed out of high school to USC. Seth Doege was his primary recruiter. He was going to be his position coach. And then eventually, I believe, I don't know exactly the timeline of all of this, and maybe we'll have to get our guy Seth Doege back on and kind of get him to explain a little bit more in depth here. But I know that, so Seth Doege was there in 2021, and Keyan Burnett, he left in 2022. Looking at Keyan Burnett's timeline here, he committed to USC in July of 2021 and then flipped right before the season. So I believe Seth Doege was still at USC at the time, but then moved on directly after that. Keyan Burnett is, I think he obviously had a prior relationship with Seth Doege. I think that obviously played a role in him coming back here, because I don't think that Arizona had made that hire yet by the time that he had decided to transfer. And then, just kind of the getting a guy that you had a previous relationship with who convinced you to commit to another school, right? Adding that in with your high school quarterback and friend Noah Fafita, adding that in with a bunch of other guys in that room that you feel comfortable with. I just think it was too much for Keyan to turn down, and ultimately, he decided I got to come back to my school.
And I think when we're talking about the Seth Doege of all of this, I think it truly shows how that hire completely changed the direction, of the football program.
Dude.
Because I think when a guy like Keyan Burnett, who clearly loves the city of Tucson, clearly loves living in Tucson, playing for the U of A, his dad played for the U of A, like this is not just like a choice he made on a whim.
Family ties.
Like this is something that he really felt. And I think for him to want to leave showed how low the program had gotten at that point. And I think when you hire Doege and he's able to work this magic and get Keyan Burnett out of Kansas and back to the U of A, I think that is a huge indicator of the health of, I'm not saying the health of the program in terms of it's in peak health, we're good, we're so back, we've never been more back. But I'm saying Arizona football seems to be moving in the right direction. The mileage may vary on how you feel about that, but I do think that the addition of Seth Doege, we might look back on that hire and be like, that was the moment that things started to turn around for Arizona football. Obviously, next year might not be great either, and we might not look at it like that. Maybe it doesn't work out. But right now, we have no reason to think that way, and I feel like we have all the reason to believe that the hiring of Seth Doege will be something we remember and say that was a turning point for Brent Brennan's time at Arizona.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I mean, it feels like the monumental move, right? And if it doesn't work out, it's going to end with, a lot of people losing their jobs, Kevin. But ultimately, it does feel like the real kind of vibe switch up of, the thought, the like where this program is at. And that's totally, I understand what you're saying. Like Seth Doege has brought a life force to this program that, I didn't know was really possible going into year two of Brent Brennan, given how bad year one was, how low the morale surrounding the program within the fan base was. And I'm not going to say that like I'm on top of the world. Arizona's going to, compete with, ASU next year and, watch out Kenny Dillingham. But what I am saying is I think that there's a world where this is a very competitive team. And I think in large part, the biggest difference there, night and day, is going to be you go from Dino Babers and Matt Atkins to Seth Doege. And ultimately, if things are going to work out for Brent Brennan here, it's going to be because of that hire. I think you're dead on about that. Yeah,
I totally agree with you. And we got into the office today, Damon, and you and I were sitting down talking to our guy GM Spo about, the Keyan Burnett of everything and him leaving Kansas and him being a double agent. And I pulled up, I was just doing my research for the show, seeing if there were any new news that had broken about Keyan Burnett. I looked his name up. And if you look his name up right now, you clearly see a Kansas player profile there. And you would be like, oh, I'm just going to go click on it and see what Kansas had to say about him, like as a player there. And it's instantly been deleted. They know he's a double agent, and they said we cannot wait to erase the history of him at this school because it was clearly a mistake that we made, and we are ashamed.
Arrest this man.
So less than 24 hours, you get a 404 error, and it says it looks like you're lost. I'm not lost. You lost Keyan Burnett, and that's the situation that we have here. But yeah, they got rid of him very fast.
Damn, man. Cold world.
It's a very cold world.
I'll tell you what else is cold, Kevin. The Jalen Daniels' stock.
Oh,
because this is what a summer, or should I say, this is what a spring with Jalen Daniels does to a man. Keyan Burnett went to Lawrence, Kansas. He spent one offseason with Jalen Daniels, and he said, please, for the love of God, get me back to Noah Fafita ball. If you're a Kansas fan, man, you got to be – that's got to raise some real questions if I do say so myself.
And you just lost a top 10 tight end transfer to Brent Brennan. So really, how are you feeling, Kansas fans? Because Brent Brennan's clearly climbing up the coaching rankings very fast, and Jalen Daniels is clearly climbing down the quarterback rankings very fast.
Keyan Burnett, he just doesn't want to be a part of that sixth season of football. He wants to go play with a guy who is going to have an actual job after he finishes up his career. It's Noah Fafita's when it's time to hang him up. Noah Fafita's going to be like, okay, I'll go coach. Jalen Daniels is going to be like, do you think I could get a 9th year of eligibility? Is that cool?
Is there a senior citizens eligibility amendment we can add there? But no, Damon, I feel like that was a pretty good take on things. I hadn't really thought about, you know what I'm saying? Oh, Mr. Ben Weissong hops in the chat about referencing the deleted profile, says, hey, KU ain't playing around. And that is true, yeah. Sometimes I feel like those, I don't know who controls the website, like what job that description falls under. Maybe it's like an intern's thing.
Whoever's doing it in Lawrence is on top of things.
They're working their job real fast. I feel like some websites don't get updated until damn near game 1 of next season. Like I feel like it doesn't get updated forever. Yeah, but Ben Weissong is right. KU ain't playing around. Damon and I have more to talk about in relation to Keyan Burnett. We got some news and notes from around the Diamond Sports, and an Arizona team has made a 3rd straight Sweet 16. And it's not the Arizona Wildcats basketball team. So we're going to talk about all that and more on the other side of this break on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Don't you go anywhere. Damon, our friends over at Branded... Our friends over at Branded Bills, as Damon corrects himself, he improves himself. I think he elevated himself by putting on a Branded Bills hat.
Damn right.
Look how clean. He cleaned up. Like a nice young man. Look at Damon Dog in the Branded Bills. We love Branded Bills.
I'm glowing, brother.
Yes, the Hawaii sun.
It's the Branded Bills hat.
Oh, I thought you were saying. Look. I thought you were talking about your skin still.
No,
anyway,
I'm talking about putting on this hat. It's
beautiful, man. It's a beautiful thing. Luke in the chat says he looks so much better now. I wonder what you thought about him before. But either way, Branded Bills is the place to go if you want to elevate your headwear game, your brand, all of your apparel. They got truckers, fitteds, beanies, tees even as well. And they keep updating their college collections. They just dropped some new U of A stuff very recently. And you can go to the campus store to get that. They have an exclusive shelf there at the U of A campus store. So make sure to check out our hats with Branded Bills. The Phoenix hat goes hard. The little rope going across it. It looks beautiful.
It does.
Branded Bills is the place to go if you want some beautiful gear. They also have partnerships, with other schools, but we're not really going to talk about those other schools, but they have partnerships with a bunch of colleges as well. Head to brandedbills.com, use code BBPHNX for 20% off your first order. Elevate your brand with Branded Bills.
Save money with that promo code PHNX to get yourself the best hat in the business. I will say this hat is significantly more this hat is so comfortable. It really feels like it's just, it's like a cloud on my head, Kevin. And another place that I love to save money at is Circle K.
Yes, man.
Our friends at Circle K, we are, of course, sponsored by Circle K. We're in the Circle K studio. You could see it right here on the mic. You could see it there on the screen. You could see it on the snack cart behind me. Circle K is America's thirst stop for a reason. It's also the snack shop. We're doing the reverse of what we did last week. Kevin's throwing me snacks this time. What up? There we go. One-handed catch. Of course, you got all the snacks here. How could you not love it? We love our friends at Circle K. And if you become an Inner Circle member today, you could save 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. That adds up, people, especially if you got a big gas guzzler like a truck or something that you maybe bought from Sanderson Ford. But save 3 cents per gallon every single day after those first 5 fill-ups until you become a premium member like my guy Kevin over there. And you will save 5 cents off per gallon on every single fill up. If you missed out on the fuel days, sorry to hear it. We got more coming up in the works here. None official yet, but there will be more fuel days in the future where you can save 40 cents off per gallon on those days in particular. And then, of course, tomorrow, Kevin, May 6th, it's the Circle K Big Giveaway.
Boom!
Their customers can enter to win prizes, cash, and more. Visit circlek.com/big giveaway for more details. Man, I am pumped for the big giveaway, Kevin. I know they're going to be giving out some free stuff. I bet you everyone's guaranteed to get something. So just download that app, become an Inner Circle member, get that membership. Visit circlek.com/big giveaway. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details.
Love our friends over at
I'm
Circle
trying to
K.
win some cash, dude.
If I can pull back the curtain on my life a little bit, I was running a little late this morning. Didn't have time to get gas. Didn't realize how low I am on gas. We're sitting at 3 dashes right now. We're sitting at 0 zilch nada. We're going to Circle K. First thing I do as soon as I leave this building, hitting up our friends over at Circle K, utilizing my Inner Circle rewards. Can't wait to save on gas today. But Damon, we got about 10 minutes-ish left in this show, unless we choose to go to overtime, which we usually do. But we have some quick hitters, news and notes I want to throw at people here. We're going to start in the softball world because there's a lot to talk about with softball. I want to start with Devin Netz, and we can get into the games after that. Devin Netz was selected by the Bandits of the Athletes Unlimited Softball League, being drafted just about a week and a half or so after getting that golden ticket Saturday night in the first ever AUSL college draft. One of 12 athletes to get that golden ticket, guaranteeing their spot on one of the league's 4 teams. It's a new league, just announced last year in June. It's going to have 4 teams, the Bandits, the Blaze, the Talons, and the Volts. Underrated, Talons? What do you think about that team name? Because I feel like it's hard. It's hard to come up with new, like somewhat unique, but also engaging team names, I'll say.
Yeah.
The 4 team names, the Bandits, the Blaze, Talons, and Volts. What are your thoughts on those 4 team names before we continue?
Hit me again with, I know Talons.
Okay, so we got Talons,
Okay.
Volts, VOLTS, Blaze, and Bandits.
Those are weird, man. Those are some odd names. I mean, I respect the creative intuition to try to not just make it Bears, Tigers, Lions, Wildcats, but
yeah,
it's not the greatest list of names I've ever heard in my entire life. I do feel like you can't always just look at the names though. You need like logos.
Oh
and
yeah,
colors.
branding is so key.
Yeah,
you're right. No, that's very true. It's gonna be not a city-based league just yet because they're so new. I think they're going to kind of have like a Savannah Bananas kind of situation where they kind of tour and every team plays in the same city kind of thing. But next year, 2026 season, I think they're looking to become more city-based, so maybe we'll have a place to go to watch Devin Netz ball sometime soon. Jenny Finch and Jenny Dalton Hill will also be involved in the AUSL. Finch will serve as an advisor to the league, and Dalton Hill will be the lead. Will lead the Bandits as the GM. So it's kind of cool that Netz is reuniting with some Arizona Wildcats, and that's not the only one. As well as former Arizona player Taylor McQuillan is already on the Bandits as a player on the team.
Nice.
So congratulations to Devin Netz. That's a huge step in her professional career. Can't wait to see her on the Bandits. And then also we have more softball news. Is number 13 Arizona finished the regular season with an 8-3 win over Houston as they swept the final series of the Big 12 season, and they will head to the Big 12 championship in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Damon.
That's interesting. That's where the Big 12 championship, because I believe that's where the national championship is as well for Women's College World Series. So yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing there. But just softball USA, I guess, Oklahoma City, and of course Oklahoma is nasty these days in softball as well. I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. But yeah, it's we're getting into the kind of the make or break portions of this season now. You expect Arizona to go very far in the Big 12 tournament. Second place finish, obviously not what you wanted. I think going into the conference, you expected Arizona to maybe kind of be the big dog of, the Big 12 softball, right? But it's year one and you finish in second place. I think that, Texas Tech had a great season. They obviously earned it by beating Arizona in the series in Tucson. And you move on to postseason play at this point. What happened in the regular season doesn't matter anymore. And, yeah, I expect this team to be a Women's College World Series contender. I don't know if they'll make it there, but certainly I think that they have the talent level, they have the star power, and Miranda Stoddard and Devin Netz to make it there. And yeah, we will be closely following along. Kevin, did you have any information on games for people?
I do. We have round 1 games coming Wednesday, May 7th. And that will be the second game. UCF versus Utah will determine who Arizona faces on Thursday, May 8th, in the quarterfinals, where Arizona plays in Game 6 versus the Game 2 winner. Semifinals Friday, championship final Saturday, May 10th. And that's all we got on softball.
Yeah, I mean, and Arizona. One quick note there: Utah, not a good team. Arizona swept them earlier this season. UCF, kind of a mid team, but they actually beat Arizona in a 3-game series at Rita earlier this season. So, maybe a little bit of a kind of a what's like a boogeyman there for Arizona softball. Like they're clearly better than UCF, but they also lost the series to UCF at home. And now they have to go back and kind of avenge that loss potentially if UCF beats the lower seed in Utah and faces Arizona in the second round. Adds a little bit of intrigue to the matchup, I think, because in general, I think I would have kind of just assumed that Arizona softball was just going to kind of push through that first game that they have, and really the next game would kind of be where you have to be on maybe danger alert. But with UCF, if it is UCF. I think that's a school that you got to be weary of just because of how the results this season played out. So, yeah, we will be monitoring the schedule around Arizona softball and keeping you updated with all of that. Moving forward to the other diamond sport across the city there in High Corbett, Arizona lost 13-6 in the series finale against TCU, but they did win the series 2-1 and are now in a 3-way tie for third place in the Big 12. With West Virginia being first, ASU being second, and then Arizona, Kansas, and TCU all tied for third place. Good series win against TCU. Unfortunately, unable to complete the sweep, Kevin. But in general, it feels like that was a big 3-game series for this Arizona baseball team. That is that's a good team that you just played in TCU.
It is a good team that you just played in TCU. You also had a little bit of history as well with the all-time saves record ever being encroached upon there as well. And then Orlov's appearance was the 83rd of his career, moving him into the sole possession of 6th in all-time appearances for Arizona program history. So, yeah, it should be a very entertaining end to the baseball season. I don't know. We're gonna see if Chip Hale and company can get it done in the tournament, which has kind of been like the barometer, I think, for a lot of baseball fans at Arizona, is can they win when it actually matters?
Yeah, they've had good regular seasons.
And so we're approaching that time of year, and so I'm interested to see how that goes this time around for Arizona baseball. Go ahead.
Game tomorrow against GCU, another game at GCU. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to go to that one. That sounds fun. 7 p.m. at GCU's stadium, but then you finish up your Big 12 series play with a series against Utah at home, who's in last place, and then a series at Houston, who is also not a very strong team. So I think Arizona has the opportunity to build some momentum here at the end of this season. Like there's a real chance, I think, to win 7 games in a row to round this one out and hopefully just kind of get that momentum flowing a little bit going into the type of elimination play that you're going to face in the Big 12 tournament, and also that you're going to face in the NCAA tournament.
Yes, and Lost Highway said it there in the chat. You do need a healthy Brendan Summerhill if you're going to make it where we want Arizona baseball to make it. And then moving on to our final topic today really quick. Congratulations to Arizona men's tennis as they advance to the 3rd straight Sweet 16 led by Jay Friend.
We're a tennis school.
Yeah, big-time tennis school. Led by junior duo Jay Friend and Eric Padham as they secured the W for Arizona tennis with a 7-5 win over 39-ranked Masto Pereira and Benjamin Privara. Pereira and Privara, kind of a cool little 1-2 nickname punch there. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Arizona tennis is going to wait for regional rounds to conclude before finding out who they're going to play in the Sweet 16. That's going to take place May 9th through May 11th.
We are a men's tennis school and a women's golf school.
Yep.
Those two sports just year in, year out recently have just been dominant. And then, of course, basketball. We all know that. But yeah, just shout out men's tennis. They just continue to put on for this university. And real quick, another shout out for men's tennis. I've seen them wearing this exact hat while playing. I'm not even playing.
I know.
Like, we're obviously a Nike school and they get Nike sponsored stuff, but similarly to what I just did with my old hat that I'll never put on again, the men's tennis team, like they got their Nike hats and they threw them against the wall and they said, "Get me my damn branded Bills hat." And I love it, Kevin. I genuinely have seen like players on the team wearing this exact hat, the dad hat, floppy branded Bills hat, and I could see why, because there's no way that there's a more comfortable hat to play a little bit of tennis in.
I heard a rumor, and I don't know if this is true, so don't go too far with this chat, but I heard a rumor that whoever is the equipment manager for men's tennis used code BBPHNX for 20% off the first order.
Streets are talking.
You could do it at home just like they did. So, yeah, if it's good enough for Arizona men's tennis going to a Sweet 16, it's good enough for you at home.
It certainly is, Kevin. We are now in the overtime period of today's show as we round things out. I think we just got a quick couple basketball hitters, but do we have the overtime thing? It didn't want to agree with us.
Honestly, okay. I'm not going to lie to you, Damon. I put the little overtime thing up, but overall, overtime with the hockey siren and it's
just too soon.
I'm kind of getting sick to my stomach right now.
Yeah, it's too soon. I get it. Just a couple quick basketball hits. We got Carter Bryant invited to the draft combine, one of 75 players set for May 11th through May 18th in Chicago, where they're going to, of course, do measurements for players, lots of 5-on-5 scrimmages, and then some strength and agility testing as well. It was disappointing that Caleb Love did not get invited to this, Kevin. I know. So Carter Bryant, obviously in that 75.
Jaden Bradley as well.
He's in the 75?
Oh, I meant like he's going to be going through that draft process, but I don't know if he's part of the 75 now. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if Jaden Bradley was invited to the NBA draft combine.
Yeah,
I'd be a little surprised if he was.
Got my wires crossed there.
But Caleb Love, while he didn't get invited as one of the 75 players to the NBA draft combine, he did get invited to the G League Elite Camp, which consists of players that were maybe just a step below what they considered caliber of making that NBA draft combine, and with the opportunity to up their game. And if they perform well and are one of the top performers at said G League Elite Camp, they can, impress scouts and parlay that into, a invite to the NBA draft combine. So yeah, I mean, I know we're all rooting for Caleb Love. Most of this fan base is pretty pro Caleb Love at this point. And yeah, I certainly wouldn't be surprised if Caleb Love goes in there, shows out and earns himself that invite, because I think that he's just a good basketball player, frankly. And I talked about this on this show before. Like, there's something to a guard that has a ton of experience at the college level that makes them like a high floor type of player in the NBA. You look at a guy like Jalen Brunson, who was a second-round pick and was disrespected because of his lack of athleticism and his lack of height, right? But Jalen Brunson has intangibles that, make him a winning basketball player. And you see him elevate his game in the postseason every year because that's just the type of player he is, right? And he has that experience level, and he doesn't shrink in those moments. I think Caleb Love is, I'm not saying he's going to be Jalen Brunson good. No chance of that. But I do think that, he has a little bit of that to his game from an experience standpoint where I'm like, I don't know, man. I just think Caleb Love is a guy that I trust to, if he's going to be a bench type NBA player, I think I think he could really play that role out. He's 6'4", he's athletic. He can, score from anywhere on the floor. He can get to the rack. He can shoot from outside and get really hot. And he really improved his defensive output this past season. Plus, he's a leader and a guy that everybody around him seems to like. I don't know. I just think I wouldn't be shocked at all if Caleb Love shows out in this G League Elite Camp, Kevin, and comes out of it as with himself an NBA draft combine invite.
I do agree with you. I feel like Caleb Love is a player that will be getting one of those invites, regardless of what you think his ceiling at the pro level could be. Whether you think it's high, whether you think it's low, whatever. He is a professional basketball player. You know what I mean? Like Caleb Love is a guy that will find his way into the pro ranks. That is not a question about it in my mind. And yeah, your mileage may vary on what you think his potential is. But yeah, I'm very excited to see what C Love can do with that opportunity, Damon.
Let's do you want to hear some of the other names that are on this G League Elite Camp list?
I do.
I'll give you just some of the more prominent guys. You got Nate Biddle from Oregon. You got Janelle Davis from Arkansas, formerly of FAU, on their Final Four run. He was on that team. You have RJ Davis, Caleb Love's former teammate. I think those are kind of the two most prominent names here that people keep talking about because they're more, I think they're considered low ceiling guys based off of them being seniors playing all throughout college basketball and using up all their eligibility. Then you have Chucky Hepburn from Louisville. You have Keyshawn Gilbert from Iowa State. You have Kobe Johnson from UCLA, formerly of USC. Curtis Jones from Iowa State as well. Caleb Love, as I mentioned. You have Chance McMillan. Lots of guys that we know. Ryan Nemhard almost came to Arizona, as well as Will Richard from the national championship Florida team. Old buddy Josan Sannon from Arizona State. And Wade Taylor, the fourth, Amari Williams, a couple SEC guys. I think it's actually a pretty good list of players there. But there's a theme. There's a theme when you look at it, and it's a lot of guys that played 3-4 years in college and were good college basketball players, but how good can they be at the next level? I think that's the question marks on a lot of those guys.
Very well broken down, Damon Dog. I would say that I think you covered all the bases on that topic. Before we get out of here, I wanted to stay with the basketball thing real quick and talk one more note on Carter Bryant, because we've been talking about where he might go, what his ceiling in the draft could be. We have a new update from the mock drafts from the Ringer. They have projected Carter Bryant. Everyone hold on to your seat. Keep your socks attached to your feet. Projected him to go 9th overall to the Houston Rockets. And if that is what Carter Bryant is being told behind the scenes, I fear that it is sayonara, Carter Bryant. Because ain't no way
10?
Ain't no way he's turning down top 10.
No.
Ain't no damn way. He'd be crazy to do that. So if he does continue to get higher and higher in these mock drafts, our it wasn't just our take, but the take that Damon and I had on the show the other day about, the additions of the two most recent wing/forward players maybe potentially indicating that they are trying to fill minutes that might have been given to a guy like Carter Bryant next season, possibly with new information from, the scouts and the analysts that are talking with Carter Bryant. So I felt like that was worth the mention. 9th overall to the Houston Rockets is another updated mock draft from the Ringer.
I fear the Carter Bryant going to the NBA train. I know we just like every week it's just like a new feeling. Oh, I think he's coming back. Oh yeah, he's definitely leaving. But we just keep switching up. But that being said, I feel like he's a guy similarly to like how those Calipari Kentucky teams were at times, where they didn't really show maybe their whole full skill set in college. And Carter Bryant might get to the NBA draft combine and just be just like out there doing special stuff that people didn't really even realize he had in his bag, similar to like, this is an extreme example, but like when Cat didn't shoot a single three in his one season in college, and then now he's the greatest big man perimeter shooter that we've ever seen.
Kyrie
in NBA
played
history.
like one quarter or one half. You know what I mean? Not actually, but you get my point. Like, yeah,
and he was nasty.
Yeah, but like you're right. There are players who like don't get to show their full repertoire, but it's there. And when they get into that environment where it's just show us everything that you could possibly do on a basketball court, it blows people
Devin
away.
Booker was similar. Like he was kind of just a spot up shooter, 6th man at Kentucky, and then the Suns drafted him, and they were like, "You're gonna have the ball in your hands all the time," and he's really good at it, right? So I fear that that's what we're looking at with Carter, is that these teams are going to start seeing the tools, and then they're going to start seeing him compete at the draft combine at that level with all of those guys, and they're going to be like, man, like this is a guy we can't pass on. This is potential we can't pass on, and Carter Bryant will find himself potentially in the lottery or just outside of it. But as of right now, yes, things look bleak regarding Carter Bryant. We will keep you updated on any of that situation going on, as well as Caleb Love and his draft prospects as well. But Kevin, I think that's going to do it for us today on the AZ Wildcats podcast. We're talking a little bit of softball, baseball, Keyan Burnett, new assistant coach Brandon Chappelle, and some NBA draft stuff. Locked and loaded with all your Arizona coverage. As always, I am Damon Dog on Twitter. That is DAWG. He is Kevin Thomas. You can follow him at Kevo Post, KEVOPOSTS. We are the AZ Wildcats podcast. You can follow us at PHNX_Wildcats. And we'll catch you next time on a Tuesday edition of the AZ Wildcats podcast. AZ Catch G with a buzzer beater in overtime, similar to shades of the Winnipeg Jets with 1.6 seconds on the clock. Getting a super chat in here. Hello, guys, with a wave, $2. Too soon, Kevin?
That one hurt, man. That one hurt.
It was shades of that.
Ouch.
Was it not?
It wasn't. It was shades of that. It was. I'm sad. We can move
Luke
on.
fist pumped again right now and under his chair just so Kevin couldn't see it. Just happy the Blues are going home. But Kevin, I'm sorry to have done that to you, brother. That was nasty of me. Hopefully Kevin forgives me by tomorrow's 12 p.m. show. We expect you guys all to be there. Leave a like on this video if you haven't done so already. Helps us out significantly. 23 likes, not good enough right now. We need 50 minimum. Get us to 50 likes. Drop those likes in right now. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. We recently hit 40K. Shout out everybody that's subscribed to this channel. 40,000. We couldn't have done it without the people that have subscribed, and we are so blessed to do this job, Kevin, and get to talk Arizona Wildcats athletics with all of us and all the fine people of this chat, including ASU fan Glenn, who's in here today. But yes, it's a special life, Kevin, and we are so thankful for the 40,000 subscribers. Shout out everybody.
Shout out to everybody, each and every one of the 40,000, each and every one of you here in the chat for spending an hour plus with us 5 days a week. So we appreciate each and every one of you guys.
Thank you guys so much. This is the AZ Wildcats podcast. Give us a follow. And of course, we will catch you next time on a Tuesday edition. But until then, peace out, bear down.
And go Cats.
We all silly like the mayor.